What's up, everyone? We're here to do another news video. Today's video is on a story I stumbled across. Long story short, um, a female shot her stalker. And I found this story on a forum I browse. It's a Call of Duty slash gaming slash League of Legends forum. They like to post random stuff. So it was on this forum. They posted this article and a few links to all the stuff she posted on Reddit, basically, of her detailing this incident. And so I got a lot to say about this. I guess first thing is that most of the feedback has been positive, which is good in my opinion, because I think generally this is definitely, it should be on her side, and I'm hoping she gets close to scot-free away from this, because it seems, and I'll link in the description the links if you're interested. The stalker was definitely at fault completely, and it was horrendous, and so essentially she pretty much carried a gun around wherever she went, even when showering, because she was in such a state of paranoia. And if you were wondering, well, why on earth would she be in a state of paranoia so much that she'd carry a gun with her to the shower? It makes perfect sense when you read the story. Basically, she had a bunch of stuff like restraining orders and so forth, and this man was relentless, and he did all this like crazy stuff, and ultimately, this man who happened to be her ex-boyfriend, did a lot of disturbing stuff, blackmail, uh, death threats, and so forth, and eventually broke down her door one night, and she was ready. So, all the power to her. I definitely think, I don't know the full story. All the details will never be known. And a lot of this world is now black and white. But I definitely think it's definitely a scary story, and I definitely think it's something that's is crazy as heck. And apparently, a lot of stuff went down, and it was shocking. And basically, he got shot 2 times in the chest. We don't know if he died or not, but she shot this man 2 times in the chest, and uh, I'm all for it, because like she was doing it in self-defense. This man broke into her house, and it was horrendous. And I mean that's the sort of messed up stuff that's going on out there. And I mean, if you just look at the story, it's like ridiculous. It's like literally, this man created like 50 accounts on all sorts of social media, and just kept making new ones to bug her, despite being blocked consistently. And she went through a bunch of stuff. She went to every social media authority to get it repealed. She got like a restraining order. She did a bunch of stuff, and then this man just kept doing crazy stuff on Facebook and social media and so forth. And I think that's one of the problems with social media. It just opens you up to so much connectivity, and basically this man, he did stuff like adding people she knew, and then joining networks that she was in on Facebook and so forth, and then adding her constantly, and just creating new accounts, and then sending a bunch of screwed up shit, and it was just messed up. And it was ridiculous. Like, first off, she had a lot of social media, like 10 social media outlets, and then even MySpace. Like, he kept going on MySpace and doing a bunch of stuff, and it was crazy. I briefly looked over the whole article. I got the gist of it, and I'm sure there's a lot more crazy stuff out there. If you read the article like detailed. But I definitely think it is one of the pitfalls of social media, and having such connectivity. A lot of people are smart, and they try and like prevent that by not exposing themselves too much to it, if at all, or you know providing any like public information. Um, However, I do think that the larger the following you have, the greater chance something like that will happen. A lot of people don't realize that a lot of big celebrities or people with big followings happen to have some sort of uh, alteration or a confrontation with someone. Not all of them. I don't know the exact percentage, but some of them do. It's not like everyone gets away scot free. There's this like Conan O'Brien, the talk show host. He had a deranged man who went to the same school as him. Conan went to Harvard, and this man was a priest, and he was very accomplished as a priest and so forth. But he had some sort of like psychological problem where he just kept following Conan around, and eventually he got a restraining order, which was violated, and he was sent to jail. But like that's one of like the dangers of it, and it's very scary because like it opens you up to a lot of problems like people knocking down your door or shooting you or doing stuff like that. Um, Celebrities, singers, and politicians and presidents have been shot because of that exposure, and just by sheer chance, like the sheer chance of you being out there um, by that many people. And it's not even like you don't even have to have a huge following. This girl did not. It's just like ridiculous. And this sort of stuff happens. And uh, yeah, I definitely had my experience with that already. I don't have that many followers, but I've had that sort of thing. And I think with just a connection with social media and all my outlets, people think that they sort of know me really well. And then, so the story goes, um, and he may still be watching this video, who knows. But I blocked him, and he just created a new account and just sent like pages long of curse words and just like toxic stuff to me, and just like disparaging me and revealing a lot of information about me. And I was just like, I just blocked him, and he kept doing it. And then ultimately I deleted my account on Reddit, and that stopped it for a while. And then he sent another like page long response to my a blog I own. And so that's like the stuff that goes on. And I think like ultimately it's like people don't realize like like it's somewhat of an obsession or something else, and sometimes you just have to deal with that. And so for celebrities who really can't retract that sort of fame or following, that's like a huge burn. So for people with fame, it's something that's like unstoppable, like because you like when you're famous, when you're that famous, you can't do anything about it. So if you're ever thinking about being famous, it's one of those things you have to think about. And maybe it's just the luck of the draw or the content I produce. Despite my small following, I've already had that inclination and occurrence. Whereas I'm pretty sure there's people with 1,000 or 100 times that my following who have not yet, but may in the future. So it's one of those things you have to think about. And ultimately, I do think that, fortunately, that man has yet to continue anything since his last message, which was a few months ago. And I'm praying he just like stops, but who knows what might happen. Another very well-known bodybuilder, his name's Scooby on YouTube. He's had a similar occurrence. And basically, I don't know the details, but people on 4chan basically like found out where he lived, and found out like, and then found out like, I don't know if this is completely true, but that he wasn't straight, and he ultimately was planning on closing down everything, his forum, his 100,000, like 500,000 subscriber YouTube channel, everything, and he had to move. and ultimately he ended up just disabling the comments on his videos because what he did so much, he loved so much, and he had to keep doing it. And I think it worked out for the best. But it's one of those things you really have to think about. And I think this woman, I mean, I can just imagine her paranoia. And just from my personal experience with that, it's just like I can understand where she's coming from. And her experience has been magnified 100, 1,000-fold because of the intensity of it and the duration. She had to move. She had to change her address. She had to change her phone number. She had to keep everything private. I definitely think she probably should have just shut down all social media. But again, in this world and age, it might not be the most advantageous thing to do that. Perhaps you want to stay in touch with your family or people around the globe, and Facebook's like the go-to to do that. But it can be done, and people 50 years ago didn't have any of this, so if you really need to, you can do it. And ultimately, it's one of those things that's like, it's, I can understand where she's coming from, that paranoia. And I mean, if you want the details, just look at the description below, look at the links, because there's a lot of stuff that she had to go through. Like apparently this man created, she had all sorts of social media, Instagram, the photo social media outlet or platform. She had to literally go through a bunch of stuff, blocking this man from all of these outlets, and then him just constantly creating new accounts and acting like it's nothing. And this is this bizarre thing, and I can somewhat understand it because when you are in a place of scarcity or just friend zoned, or just like you don't have many options, I can kind of understand where you're coming from. But it's scary how that can sort of warp you to a point where logic and reason just doesn't work anymore, and you don't understand that you're like completely obsessed or just completely delusional. And so, yeah, I don't, this, after reading this story, I was just like, holy crap, I believe I blocked the man who was sending the messages to me. I did respond to him a few times with very polite exchanges, and initially he was trying to help me out, but it got to a point where it was just a very like a lot of toxicity, and so hopefully he won't go crazy. Hopefully I won't get any more messages from him, and I can continue my passion, which is creating these YouTube videos. And I'm thankful that of my life, and I pray to God, that shit never happens or continues. And I think I would be willing to shut down all social media if that were to happen. But that's all I really want to say, and thank you all for watching. See you guys later in my next video. As always, like, favorite, comment, and subscribe.